Greetings and welcome to Nathan Lyle Official. I, in case you have never seen my face in a video before, am Nathan Lyle. This is my personal channel, and this playlist that you're on right now is called Anime Corner. What is Anime Corner? Well, at the end of a simulcast, I will talk about all the different anime that I watched, tell you what I think of them. I liked this one because this, I didn't like this one because this. This specific video that you're watching is period anime, which is anything that takes place before modern technology. So in all of these anime that I am about to mention, you will not see any cell phones, any TV, any cars, any planes, any of that. The first one I'm going to talk about is Rokka and the Braves of the Six Flowers. And this one is a very interesting storyline, if nothing else. It centers around a character named Adlet, and he's basically Batman. He's not really that strong or that fast. There's nothing great about him except for the fact that he trained himself to be this incredible fighter who always has an extra trick up his sleeve. And long story short, it's an interesting story about how there's a legend about how these 6 warriors are supposed to kill the Demon King. But the interesting part of the story is that, it turns out there are 7 of them. Spoiler alert. And that becomes this big mystery. And I enjoy most of it. There are parts of it that I didn't like at first, but then that started to make sense later. Overall, though, I would say that while there are individual episodes that I really don't like how they did this, I don't like how this was handled and whatnot, overall, I definitely think this is a worthwhile show, and I do not regret seeing it. It's very much worth checking out. Look at a few episodes, see if you like it, see if it's to your taste. Then the next one I'm talking about is the heroic legend of Arslan, which is continuing from the previous simulcast. And long story short, because I don't want to spoil too much of it, because sometimes wondering what happens next is the best part about this show. It's a story about a young prince named Arslan. He's from the kingdom of Pars. His father is the greatest warrior king ever. And then one day, they go into battle against a country called Lusitania. Dad loses, and now Arslan, he's on the run, and with some of his most loyal servants, he's trying to build up his own army so he can take back his birth kingdom and reclaim the throne that was stolen from his father. And it's a very exciting story with some good battle sequences, and it's very interesting. It's got a lot of really great characters with a lot of depth. It's very well rounded. This is one of those ones that if it went to 800 episodes, I would be very much okay with it, because I really want to see this just fleshed out. I don't want them to try to rush into season 2, he takes back his kingdom and everything's fine again. I want to see him struggle and then, prevail through adversities. I think more than anything else, the only thing that bugs me about this, though, is that there are no good guys that die. It's very kind of formulaic, where it's the good guys don't always necessarily win, but it's the one thing about this that bugs me is that it almost feels like there are no consequences in the world, because good guys don't die. You can get hurt badly, but you don't die. Whereas bad guys, they're just dropping like flies, because that's just how life works. But moving on to Snow White with the red hair. I believe the Japanese word is Akagami no Shirayuki no Hime. And that one's a very interesting one, which I'm starting to realize, is red hair just a thing that doesn't exist in Japan? Because they have a lot of stories like this, where the main character is Shirayuki, and she stands out because she's got this amazingly red hair, and it's just really long and beautiful, and she's an herbalist. One day the prince of her country decides, I like your hair, you're going to be my concubine. And she's I don't want to, so she cuts off her hair and runs away to a different kingdom, where she ends up meeting a different prince named Zen and ends up befriending him. And it's all about this journey that they take together, and there's this very obvious romantic interest between the two of them. And it's very interesting, and the one thing I'll say about this is that it's very realistic. There's never anything too over the top. It's almost like watching a live action story. There's nothing really animated about it, except for the fact that it's all drawn. If that makes sense to you, it's just a story about people just trying their best to live their lives. That's really all it is. And even though there are some interesting sequences, is action and stuff, it is more of a drama, and it focuses more on like romance and people just struggling to find their place in life. So keep that in mind when you're watching it. But all that said, it is a very interesting storyline, one that I really enjoyed, basically every single episode of it. It's a very interesting one that just kept me paying attention the whole time. And then we move on to Chaos Dragon, which it's a story about a boy. Like, he lives in this country there are like these two big countries at war, and in between them there's this island called Nil Kamui, and it ends up being torn apart by their war. And then one day the red dragon, which was supposed to be their guardian deity, he goes crazy and just attacks everybody. And now Nil Kamui and the other two countries that are at war, they all join together, send some representatives on an expedition to kill the red dragon. And it's a very interesting one. I don't know, there was just something about it that it didn't resonate with me. It's not a bad show. It's pretty good. It's got a lot of good characters and a very decent plot. It's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things. It just didn't connect with me personally, but if it's still one worth checking out. I still say definitely yes, it's worth, if you're looking at it, it's because it's got like dragons and zombies and all kinds of sword fights and shit. So it's worth checking out. Watch an episode or two, see if you like it. I can't say that I'd recommend it for everybody, but it is a very well put together anime. Props to the people who made this, because they did a good job creating it. I just didn't love it. There was something missing. It didn't have that je ne sais quoi. And then we have Bikini Warriors, which, well, it is what it is. It's a show with, like, the episodes are like 3 minutes long each, and it's about girls who are basically like in an RPG, like Dungeons and Dragons. You've got like 4 of them: a mage, a dark elf, a warrior, and these people all together. They just, these 3 women are just going on trips, trying to earn money, trying to find hidden items and stuff. And they do it all while wearing bikinis. And let's be completely honest here. It's because it's so short, and it would take less than an hour to marathon through the entire show. It would be easy. It's very easy to watch, so I'm not going to try and scare you away from it. But I'm going to tell you this much: pretty much the entire show is just a lot of fan service. It's 3 minutes of unnecessary fan service. So if you're into that, great, check it out. But if you're not really a fan service type of person, you're not missing anything by skipping over this. Because I don't even know if there was an actual storyline, because I really wasn't paying attention to it at all, because I did enjoy the fan service. I came here for the fan service. It's one of those shows that this is just 3 minutes of fan service. That's it. Like, there's nothing else really to it. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is called Overlord, which it's a pretty interesting one. And this is another one that I just went into it not knowing anything about it beforehand, and it was just very interesting. It's just, the story is, there's a salaryman who plays this online game, and it's like the biggest MMORPG ever, and unfortunately though, it's shutting down. And he's built up this entire kingdom, and he's got this castle full of servants, and he's this incredibly high level sorcerer, and he decides, well, like, apparently his real life just isn't really that much worth going back to, so he's just going to sit here and wait for the server to shut down. But then it hits midnight and the server doesn't shut down, and then he realizes, wait, I can't log off. Somehow he is now stuck in this world. And he decides, well, fuck it, since I'm stuck here, I'm going to make myself the king. And it's a very interesting story with a lot of really cool action, and it's got some very fun characters. And this is one that's definitely worth looking at. In fact, this is my top one from this segment. This is my #1 favorite. If you're going to check out any of the anime in this one, I suggest looking at that one first. I sincerely enjoyed it from beginning to end. It was just an amazing anime. I'm not going to say perfect. There are parts where I do think it is lacking, But just overall, I think if you look at the full body of work, they did just an amazing job from start to finish in telling a great story and telling it in a way that was very fun and exciting to watch and just very interesting. And so, my top 3 from this segment: number 1, Overlord; number 2, Snow White with the red hair; and number 3, I'd put it Rokka of the Six Braves. Just taking there's a very close tie between like Rokka and Arslan. Either one of those are worth checking out. And so that's it for this video, but be sure to stay tuned for some of the other videos on this playlist. In the meantime, my name is Nathan Lyle. This is my personal channel. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments below telling me if you've seen any of these anime. If you have, did you like it? And if not, what didn't you like about it? And in the meantime, just until I see you in another video, enjoy your day.